Let's go. What is up, New York Giants fans, Big Blue Nation? It's Rob and Donald. This is Nerding Out Sports, and it is Eagles week. Well, we got pretty much a day to go, but it is divisional playoffs against the hated rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to preview it for you right here on the channel. So, Donald, before we get into our keys and all that good stuff, gut feeling as we go into Philly tomorrow night. What is your gut feeling right now? You feeling confident, nervous, in between? What's the feeling going into?
But you know what? I think we can win this game. It's my hot take.
Okay.
We can win this game. A lot of it isn't logic. A lot of it is just looking at the tea leaves and reading how we won our Super Bowls in 07 and 11. It's that kind of just, we're kind of a hot team. We're picking up momentum. We're a loose team. We're a hardworking team. And we're taking on an Eagles team which has not been playing its best football towards the end of the season. And I'm thinking maybe they'll ride that momentum, might carry us to a very, very tight win.
I could see it. For sure. I mean, obviously, the playoffs are one of those things where you're hot at the right time. We've seen it happen with us twice since 2007. However, you can't underestimate what the Eagles have on their side. Like, they are just if they're not the best team in football, even statistically, like they're third in points per game, third in yards per game. They're top 10 in passing yards. They're top 5 in rushing yards. They don't allow a lot of points. They're top 10 in that category. They allow the least amount of yards per game, the least amount of passing yards per game. And the one spot where you can kind of get them is against the run, where they're 16th in the league against the run, giving up 121 yards per game. So if that's the case, maybe, because we didn't see him a ton last week taking carries, maybe this is where they try to get Saquon going early and often.
Well, we've got a comment from Tony that probably deserves to be highlighted.
You can win this game, and if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump. Well, I saw your tweet earlier, Tony, how you're going to troll Giants fans, but the fact that you're a Texans fan is a troll in its own right. So, I mean, who's in the playoffs right now?
Rob isn't taking that on this early.
We're not doing that right now, but what is up to you, Tony? Anyway, do you think this will be the game where we see a lot more Saquon Barkley, or will they kind of keep the offense relatively close to what we did last week against Minnesota?
Well, I think they're going to blitz a lot, and I think that will open up the screen game for Saquon Barkley. So I could see him being used in the intermediate and the flat, just kind of like he was against the Vikings. And I could see there being a case where the cross routes that we had against the Vikings may not work against this Eagles front. So we might have to resort to checkdowns, and that will mean that be a lot of pressure on Saquon Barkley in screens, etc. So I could see that happening. As for the run game, I think we'll have to develop it, but I think it'll be the same as it has been over the last couple of weeks where it's been successful for the Giants, where the pass sets up the run.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Eagles pass rush. It's the best in football. Brandon Graham has 11 sacks. Fletcher Cox has 7. Hassan Reddick has 16, and they drop him into coverage a lot.
They had 70 sacks this year.
Yeah.
70. That is absurd.
4 guys with double digits, and then Fletcher Cox is there with 7. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That is elite. And this Giant offensive line, specifically Evan Neal, because he struggled a little bit last week. He was a little bit better, but he had his work cut out for him with Danielle Hunter. They're going to target him. They're going to target him all night. And this could be a game where if Evan Neal, if there was ever a time where he needs to step up and be that first-round pick, and I know I've been giving him a lot of leeway, and I'm still going to give him leeway, but we need Evan Neal to really be at his A game if the Giants are going to have a chance to develop any sort of consistency on offense.
He struggled this year. Evan Neal. It's not been the easiest rookie year for him. But if there's a time to show out, it's this one. Because there is a lot of pressure on him. with that pass rush, it's just formidable. Also, you're looking at the other weaknesses like Glowinski, the right guard. I mean, to be honest, the only one that I completely 100% trust is left tackle. Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle in football, in my opinion. And the rest, they can be got, but I do trust that Andrew Thomas will be fine. But yeah, Evan Neal, there's a lot of pressure on him.
He really does. Evan Neal, Bredesen, or Gates, whoever's in there at left guard, they're going to switch off. Glowinski and Feliciano have been better the last few weeks going into the playoffs. They actually had the offensive line in general was pretty good last week against the Vikings front.
I thought Feliciano was really good last week.
Yeah, he's been getting better, so it's giving me more confidence that maybe, unless they look to switch up the line a little bit, maybe they go ahead with him again next year on another cheap 1 year if they can't find a replacement. But the fact that we're seeing improvement from guys that really struggled, like Glowinski and Feliciano, were terrible to start the season and throughout most of the year. But in crunch time, they have both gotten better as the entire offense has started to get better. So it's been kind of this cohesive unit. And I do think for the sake of continuity, they should try to keep as much of that line together as possible. Certainly look to upgrade if you can, but we know Glowinski's going to be here next year. It's just a matter of, do they go Gates back to center? Does he go left guard? Is it Bredesen? So they're going to have stuff to figure out there. But we know they go with that rotation at the left guard position. I don't know if that's going to work again in this game, because if you have Bredesen out there and he has a really good drive, do you really want to change that and switch Gates into the next possession? I don't know if that's a good idea.
Well, regardless of the way they line up tomorrow on the offensive line, you're right. The offensive line has been excellent as of last week. As I say, it's the best I've seen as a unit, the Giants' offensive line play, in a long, long time. The entire unit played really well. Evan Neal had his shaky moments, but in general, he was solid enough. He was okay. But the whole offensive line was great. So let's carry that momentum forward, because we really, really need it. They need to play out of their minds. If you give Daniel Jones a little bit of time, that could make all the difference. It
really would. And Tony here says, in all seriousness, don't see Barkley doing much in this game. I think Bellinger could have a big game, though. It's going to take everybody. If it's Bellinger that steps up, or if it's Richie James or Hodgins again, or Slayton, maybe he makes up for that drop by having a big game. They're going to need it, because like I mentioned with the stats, this Eagle defense, they don't have a weakness. They can get to the quarterback. They can pick you off. I mean, their third corner has like 6 or 7 picks, Gardner Johnson. Both Slay and Bradbury have, I think, 3 or 4 apiece. So, like, they're strong all across the board. Like, I can't find a weakness on this team. And that's what makes them so scary, especially going into the playoffs. But you brought up the history. The Giants, and I don't even want to bring up the stat, but it's been floating around. They're 6-0 against the 1 seed in postseason history. So maybe that bodes well for us. But we have seen playoff records get broken already in this year, because Brady had never lost to the Cowboys. And last week, Dallas took out Brady and the Bucs pretty handily. So I don't know what to think about this game. Like, my gut reaction is we're probably not going to be able to win this game. And it's not because I don't think we're that good. It's just, I think the Eagles are just better than us, because they just have way too much talent for us to be able to overcome. However, in the past, we've seen that momentum could carry you even over against the best team. So gut feeling is we don't come out of this game. But even at the end of the day, I'm like, this team has far exceeded my expectations, so I can't really be upset. If they go out there and just battle and prove to the rest of the league that we're no longer a pushover, I think I'm going to be okay after Saturday night. I'm going to take a little time to be upset, but I can't get that feeling out of me that's like Philly's just too much for us to handle right now.
Okay, so if I was to counter that, like, maybe even just think about how we've beaten really, really far superior teams in prior years, especially 07 and 11. Now, there's a lot of similarities between us in 2007 and this year. Just going with my gut, I have a special feeling about this team. This is and it only comes once in a while. I feel that the momentum is with us. I love the fact that the Eagles don't really have game tape on us. This new look Giants that we have. Like, throw away the 48-22 game. That was a game where our entire secondary was out, right? And then they beasted us. Okay, fair. Throw away week 18. Again, that was our third string team. And by the way, we would have beaten them had we even played one or two of our regulars. So they've not seen this new iteration of our offense where there's going to be a whole new offense, a whole new scheme that they're going to have to deal with. And they've not really faced before because we've opened up the playbook. We'll be different schematically. We'll be different schematically with our number one secondary. We'll be different schematically with our offense, especially with Isaiah Hodgins, who's now a factor, which he wasn't a factor when we lost 48-22 against them. So with all those things in our favor, I think that we can really keep this close. And if we can make this a one-possession game, then you never know what can happen. Anything can happen. It's play of football. Play of football is absolutely madness, right? Anything can happen at any time. But, yeah, listen, DJ's got a lot of confidence, man. He's growing in confidence. And that's another thing that could work in our favor. His confidence is sky high. If you've got a quarterback that's playing out of his mind football, which DJ is doing right now, where everything just seems to be working for him, it's just like a basketball player who just cannot miss. It's like an NBA player who just gets hot and just cannot miss from the field. It's kind of him right now, man. Just look at it. He killed the Vikings and was very unfortunate that we lost that game because he was fantastic in that game. Takes on the Colts. He rinsed them. He took the piss out of them. He pissed all over them. Destroyed them, right? And then that confidence was carried into the Viking game where he was even better. And he was like all world. So his confidence is sky high. Why not? Let's see if he can do it against this Eagles team, which is obviously sensational. They've got 70 sacks in the front. They've got 17 interceptions in their secondary. It's absolutely madness. Statistically, all across the field, we're at a disadvantage, of course. On matchup to matchup, we've got a disadvantage pretty much. And 9 times out of 10, 90% of this entire team is much better than ours. That's not a question. But if you just look at the fact that we're a little hot team right now, and the Eagles aren't very hot, man. They really struggled against the Chicago Bears. Really struggled. Barely got through them. Barely got through us. They've been banged up a little bit. Jalen Hurts has been banged up a little bit. He's going to go to a shoulder issue. He'll be fine, but again, maybe one hit, and maybe his shoulder might get a little bit affected, and then you never know what can happen. So they're a little bit they're going to be healthier, but they've been banged up. We're getting healthier. Our confidence is up. So those kind of things, you can see that could be enough for it to be a one-score game. And when it's a one-score game, anything can happen.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I'm not saying we're going to get blown out. I'm not saying that the Giants are just they don't belong here. I just don't want to overlook Philly in any way possible. I'm not saying you are. I know history. We brought it up in our post game the other day that the fact that this team is starting to feel eerily similar to what we did in 2007, and now we're seeing NFL Network bring that up as well. They're starting to talk about it like, hey, this is kind of similar. So, yeah, anything can happen in the postseason. But considering we don't win in Philadelphia, it kind of feels like everything's aligning for the Giants to pull off the upset, right? We can't beat Philly in Philly. We can't beat Philly in general. They are just far superior to us talent-wise. Statistically, they're better. Their quarterback's at an MVP level. They got weapons up and down the roster. Their defense is full of studs. Everything aligns for Philly to just walk all over us, which is the perfect opportunity for the Giants to go in there with zero expectations and pull off the upset. So if we do it, fantastic. I'm going to be as excited as possible. I'm going to probably be insufferable on the internet because I'm not going to shut up about it. And I'm just going to be having this celebration until the NFC Championship if we win. If we lose, though, I'm not going to be cursing the gods and saying football is a joke, whatever, because the season's just been so good for me. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's ending, but I don't want to get that feeling like we still got a battle ahead of us. Philly is they are not a team that you can take lightly at all, no matter how banged up they are, because Jalen Hurts had himself an MVP caliber season. So if he's 100%, and even Wink said it, we're preparing for an MVP type quarterback this Saturday night. So let's see if Wink's up to the test. That's one of my actual keys if you want to get into the keys of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Wink.
I will say, though, that I don't want to think about I don't want to talk as if it's already the past tense, right? So what I will say is I completely agree with you. If they lose, I will still be very, very happy. I will be very, very positive. And whatever happens, I'm going to be very, very positive. This has been a fantastic year. It's been a wonderful journey. It's been so much fun to be a part of. It's been so much fun to do this with you and do this with our other channels where we're talking football, which we love to do every single week. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. But I don't want to talk as if it's the past tense because this is very, very real. This is very, very real possibility that we could be going to an NFC Championship game. And I'm working on that mindset because I do truly believe that there is a real chance there because it's very, very hard to win 3 straight games against an opponent. Very, very hard. So the Eagles haven't seen this new iteration. So I do believe that it's going to cause some problems for the Eagles. And with that, anything can happen. Just keep it close. Anything can happen. Let's get into our keys.
All right, let's do it. Key number 1 for me, I'm looking at Wink Martindale. I'm not gonna back off what I said. I think he had his worst schemed game of the season last week, but he did.
I'd like to counter that.
Okay, well, I said it in the post game. They got it going in the fourth quarter when they needed to. Yeah. I don't think we can afford to have 3 quarters of bad defense against Philadelphia. So I think if they get beat on the first or second drive, whatever it may be, and it's looking like Philly's just having their way with us, adjustments have to come quickly. Wink Martindale needs to be at his A game because I will not back off from that. For 3 quarters, the defense just did not adjust to anything Minnesota was doing. Justin Jefferson aside, they were killing us in every other way they possibly could. They couldn't cover the tight end. And let's not forget, Philadelphia's got a really good tight end at their disposal as well in Dallas Goedert. So I'm looking at Wink, and I'm not saying he was just so bad that I'm like starting to sour on Wink Martindale, but I know if there's anyone that I trust to have a better performance, it's this defensive coordinator. So I'm looking at Wink to get this defense ready to go, to bring some pressure, cause some turnovers, whatever it may take. But I'm looking at Wink. Your scheme has to be tip-top, and those adjustments have to come quickly because I don't think you can afford to wait till the second half against Philadelphia.
Okay, I'm going to counter that because I actually rewatched the film and I realized that they had to dial back the pressure in order to bracket Justin Jefferson, and that's exactly what they did. If they overcommitted, then Justin Jefferson would have had the freedom of New York to do his damage. But the coverage schemes that we set in place bracketed him. There was always Xavier McKinney on Justin Jefferson's side ready to shut him down. And that was the key. We got Adoree Jackson who stuck to him like glue. You have to give Wink Martindale credit for that. Adoree Jackson stuck to him like glue. And then over the top, there was McKinney to provide help. And it kept him at just 47 yards. No other team in the league has managed to keep Justin Jefferson to 47 yards. It's an absolute achievement considering he had 1,800 yards this year. So what I'm saying is I don't believe it was schematic issues. I believe it was personnel issues that allowed T.J. Hawkinson to destroy us. Also, we do have the worst we are the worst team in the league in terms of stopping the run. That's been an issue all year long. So it's not necessarily a surprise where they got off some big runs on us. And it's definitely not a surprise that TJ Hawkinson destroyed us, because look at our linebacker situation. Our inside linebackers suck. And I'm more than happy to say that. So I think that was more the issue rather than anything schematic. I believe the scheme that Wink Martindale conjured up was actually really freaking smart. And then he changed it in the fourth quarter. They weren't expecting him to man up, and that's where we won the game. So I'm actually going to say that Wink Martindale had a very decent game, and it was more personnel that they ran all over us, and TJ had a great game rather than anything schematic. I think Wink Martindale actually did a good job.
But don't you think now that we're going against Philly, who has another really good receiver outside of A.J. Brown? They still got Devontae Smith. Can't forget Quez Watkins can always do damage. They got a great running game. They got a really good tight end. And they also have Boston Scott, who, despite what Wink Martindale wants to say, he is a giant killer, because the guy just seems to score every single time he plays us. So they have weapons. So even if Adoree sticks to one of those two big receivers, is Moreau going to be on the other one? Are they going to have to bracket Devonta Smith, and which is going to leave Dallas Goedert open? We also can't forget that, unlike Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback. He had a really good year on the ground, rushed for over 750 yards, and had, I think, 13 touchdowns on the ground this year. So he's a dual threat. And because that shoulder isn't tip-top, maybe they look to get him more mobile, which would put him at risk for more hits. But they're going to look to get yards. So I'm not saying that Wink was just so bad last week that I can't stand him, and I'm not, none of that. But I do think his adjustments need to come sooner if the Eagles start to have their way with us, because their offense, to me, is a lot better than Minnesota's, to where it can be 14-0 in a blink. And Wink has to make those adjustments quickly if he sees what's getting beat. And I trust that he would. It just has to happen sooner, because I don't think we can last 3 quarters with them before it gets out of hand.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to see some different schemes. I think you'll probably see a lot of cover 1, and you'll probably see a little cover 2, and then you'll certainly see some cover 3 with 2 high safeties involved as well, which was actually key to beating the Vikings. So there's going to be a mix of schemes, and it's going to keep the Eagles on their toes. That's the plan. But the key is, as you just said right there, you can't go 14 zip down against the Eagles. If you go 14 zip down, I have very little hope of us coming back. We need to keep it very much within reaching distance all the way through. If they build up a lead and have us chase, then it's not going to be good. We really need to keep it close early. The Eagles are a team built on getting off to a fast start and then holding you off after that. And that's the key right there. So my number one key is keeping it very, very close, keeping it 1 score, no more than a 10-point deficit all the way down, and just kind of eat into that and just keep it close. Try and take a lead, and if we can get a lead, then it'll work in our favor. That's how you want to do it. Keep it close. Don't go 2 score. Don't go 14 zip down, 21-3 down. Nope, ain't gonna happen against this Eagle team.
You're absolutely right. I mean, look, we can't give up 48 points. That's also a pretty big thing, an easy statement to make. Don't give up 48 points, and don't let them walk all over you. But yeah, I think we're pretty much in the same wavelength there when it comes, or similar wavelength when it comes to the defense. Because if you get behind, like we said, 14 zip, 13 zip, whatever it may be, it's going to be a long night. And I don't want to go through that to end, for potentially the last game. I don't want to have to go through one of those, oh, this sucks. Oh my God, we're getting destroyed, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to be the case, but that offense is just so good that it can happen before you even blink. Like, you can go get a snack and come back and it's 7 zip. That's how explosive the Eagles offense is. So Giants got to be prepared for that. They really have to be prepared for that. And I think they will be. They look confident out there. They look like they're ready to go, dancing in practice, which some Eagles fans who like to call us soft are complaining about. They're not taking us seriously. Throw it in the bin. I don't care about Nick Sirianni's pizza choices. I really don't. I don't know why people are making a big deal about that, but Eagles fans are attacking Giants fans for that. You guys are soft, but then you see a video of us dancing and you're not taking it seriously. We'll see. Who's soft now? You're complaining about practices when people are dancing and having a good time, and you're calling us soft for talking about pizza, which, by the way, let the guy eat whatever pizza he wants. But there was a Philadelphia reporter who said all pizza is pretty much the same. That deserves some hate because that is
That's
just
that's someone who's never tried New York pizza.
That's an egregious statement right there. But let's get back into these keys here. Key number 2, run wild 2-6. I need to get Saquon Barkley involved as much as humanly possible, whether it's running the ball or receiving it. He's our best player. I love the way we used him last week against Minnesota, where it wasn't a lot of carries, but he got involved in the receiving game. I think it's going to have to be a lot more of that. I think they're going to try the run out a little bit more, though, early on to see, because Philly's going to have tape from last week. They're going to say, Giants like to pass on first down a lot now. Maybe they'll be looking to stop the pass on first down or stop those bootlegs, and that's where Saquon can get some big chunks early on first down. But I'm looking at Saquon to try to set the tempo early on for this offense, and if Philly's ready for it, then obviously they're going to have to quickly game plan and adjust to get Danny Dimes on the move or get him in the receiving game. But I think Saquon's got to be the one to set the tempo this week against Philadelphia.
So my second key is run wild Daniel Jones. That is my key. They have never seen Daniel Jones run wild. He only ran for 28 yards. Only ran for 26 yards in the 48-22 loss. And he did play, obviously, in the final game of the year. So run wild Daniel Jones, because that changes the entire offense in our favor. Look at the confusion that it caused the Minnesota Vikings when Daniel Jones went off script and started reeling off 15, 20 yards a time on the ground. Because then they were like, who are we going to cover? Are we going to, try and stop the quarterback from rushing? Are we going to stop Saquon Barkley from rushing? Are we going to get beat over the top? And that caused so much confusion, the Vikings had no answer for it. So my key number 2, Daniel Jones. Let's design runs for Daniel Jones. Let's get DJ absolutely running. Vanilla Vic, I want to see him take off, because that changes the offense. Because that builds his confidence. He's like, shit, I can beat these guys, no problem. Then you can start getting Saquon Barkley mixed in. Then you can start peppering him over the top. We can get mixing some play action. The whole offense game plan just opens up, and you can start doing some fun things, which Kafka was doing. He was like, "Hey, Statue of Liberty, why not? Let's try other things here. Let's get Rita involved. Let's start just doing this, that, and the other, because it was working." So that's my key. Key number 2, Daniel Jones. Run wild, Vanilla Vic.
Which that kind of leads into my third key, which is take us home 8, because if we're going to win this game, I think if we have it close where it comes down to the final drive and we got to get a score to win it or close it out, if we somehow have a lead and we got to get one more score just to put it away, take us home 8. Danny Dimes, you had all of us buy into you last week, right? The entire fan base is pretty much saying, that's my quarterback. There's no more question who we want moving forward. And Tony brought it up earlier. Regardless of what happens, Daniel Jones has to get paid. 1,000%. He's got to get a new contract, and he better be back next year. Daniel Jones, take us home. If we're going to win this game and it comes down to the last drive, I want the ball in 8's hands. I do. I want it. I love Saquon to death, and you're going to get him involved one way or the other. But at the end of the game, if we need that drive, if it comes down to that one drive, we've seen Eli do it in the postseason before. I want to see Danny get it done. I'm putting the ball in 8's hands, and take us home, Danny, if that's what it comes down to. That's my third key, is Daniel Jones, take us home.
My key number 3, pressure Jalen Hurts. Put pressure on Jalen Hurts. Courtesy of Talking Giants, the difference between Jalen Hurts in a clean pocket fully protected, and Jalen Hurts in a muddy pocket is night and day. I believe 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 75% completion percentage, and a clean pocket. In a muddy pocket, it's down to 44%, and his touchdowns dropped down from 18 to about 5, and 2 interceptions. So it's far more turnover prone. His completion percentage drops. That's our best chance. So, and guess what? What's the one thing that Wink Martindale does better than any other defensive coordinator in football? Blitz schemes. So let's get blitzing, baby. That's Wink Martindale's bag right there, baby. So he'll be like, woo! So I think he's going to have fun with this. I think you're going to see a lot of blitzing. Another thing, Dexter Lawrence. Now, even if Dexter Lawrence gets completely shut down by their all-world center, Jason Kelsey, possibly a Hall of Famer in the future. Even if he gets stopped, there's still Leonard Williams. We need Leonard Williams to have a big game because, as I say, the two of them are a partnership, right? If Leonard Williams gets shut down, who's going to benefit from that? Dexter Lawrence, right? So, again, vice versa. Dexter Lawrence gets shut down, we need Leonard Williams to ball out. Either way, we need pressures. We need to have Jalen Hurts on the run. Now, he's definitely not Kirk Cousins when he's on the run. Don't get me wrong, because as you say, he's got 700 yards on the ground, and he's an excellent quarterback all the way around. Like, he is a excellent quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But as with every quarterback, if you have them put under a little pressure, that's your best chance of winning. And that's the key for the Giants right there, man. So key number 3, pass rush.
Absolutely. And we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm excited one way or the other. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. It's just a weird feeling because it's like we're getting a playoff game, but I can't believe that we're here. You know, it's like this excitement and also kind of like this dream feeling that we're really about to play in a divisional playoff game and what is year 0 of a rebuild. Like, I just can't say enough about what this coaching staff's been able to do, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. But it's time for predictions for this game. So let's start with number 8 himself, Danny Dimes, the mayor of Dimesville, the franchise quarterback, my guy, our guy. Total yards, touchdowns, turnovers, what do you got?
Well, if the Giants are to win, he can't turn the ball over. Like, he can't turn the ball over even like more than once. Can't turn the ball over. So I think it's going to be a clean game from Danny Dimes. So I'm going to work on that. So let's say 2 passing touchdowns and 245 yards passing.
Okay. And 0 turnovers.
0 turnovers, and I think he's going to make up about, let's say, about 50 yards on the ground.
Okay, so you got 295 all-purpose with 2 touchdowns. That's winning football if you don't turn the football over. That could be enough to put us in a position to win the game. I like that prediction a lot. I'm going to say he goes for about 275 all-purpose. I think he's going to have a couple of touchdowns, and I do think he's going to turn the football over, partially because every time we predict that he will, he doesn't. So
I was thinking that too.
I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to say 275 all-purpose, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. That'll be my prediction for Danny, which it could be enough to get the W. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, 2-6 himself. Had a good game last week all around. Helped us beat the Vikings. Does he do the same this week against Philadelphia? What is your prediction for 2-6?
I don't think 2-6 will be as big a threat on the ground as he will be catching the football. I think that I can see a screen game and a lot of checkdowns there. So give me 100 all-purpose. Give me 100 all-purpose. I think it'll be more in the air than it will be on the ground with him.
Any touchdowns?
Yeah. 1 rushing touchdown.
All right. So that's a pretty good number. I'm going to say he gets just over. I'm going to go 110 all-purpose. And I do think he's going to get 1 touchdown. Probably one of the touchdowns from Danny. I think he's going to get a receiving touchdown. All right, that leads us to the leading receiver. Last week, you had it right with Isaiah Hodgins. My pick was Richie James. He didn't come close.
My pick is Isaiah Hodgins.
Well, that leaves me with basically one other choice. Darius Slayton. I think it has to be. It's one or the other. There's really no other choice. If you're picking one or the other there, unless someone like a Richie James or, dare I say, Kenny Golladay, Darius Slay's biggest nightmare comes back to haunt them. We'll have to wait and see. Now let's
add a new one. Under the radar player.
Ooh. Under the radar player on offense?
Could be on offense or defense. Under the radar player who's going to do something to change the game or help us in one way or the other.
I hope we see him more this week because apparently Fabian Moreau got hurt towards the end of the game, a little banged up, and that's why we saw this guy come in for those last couple of plays. Cordell Flott, I want to see more of him. He's been playing better. He had a big play on 3rd down. He had a good game against Philly in Week 18. I want to see more of Flott. I want Philly to fear the Flott. That's my pick.
That's my pick too. That was my pick. I was like, you know what? He's actually had some very good matchups against A.J. Brown in that Week 18 game where he actually played pretty well. So mine on defense would be Cordell Flott. But now that you mentioned it, I guess on offense, give me someone like Matt Breida.
Ooh, okay. I like the way they've used him this year.
I like how they used him recently. He seems to be used a little bit more often recently. He looked good against the Colts. He looked really good last week. So maybe Matt Breida might have a couple of decent runs.
Let's get into some comments here because Tony a while ago said, if you put pineapple on pizza, you're definitely soft. Yeah, well, it's a terrible topping for a pizza. Like, I don't know why anyone want a fruit on a pizza. It just makes no sense. Then he says DJ with 230 yards, 100 on the ground. Wow.
Holy mackerel.
Well, you know what, Tony? Keep those predictions going in that direction because last week you had a good game for Danny as well, and you were right. So can you predict the Giants?
Yeah, he's usually pretty.
So be on our side here. Maybe we'll not make fun of the Texans as much. Alex is in the chat. Just woke up. What's up? Good to see you. Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx. Thanks for popping in. So let's get to the defensive side of the ball in terms of predictions. We didn't have any sacks last week. Do you think that changes this time around?
Yeah, I think it will. I could see. Give me 3 sacks.
All right. And I'm going to say we get 4. I think we're going to be able to find a way to get to Hurts in this game. I think we have to. And it's not like Minnesota. I think we absolutely have to hit him and bring him down for some sacks because that's going to change the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't, it could be a long day. Alex Daniel Jones, 230 passing yards, 30 rushing yards, Saquon 75 rushing, 2 sacks for the Giants defense. McKinney with the pick that'll get, and Tony says 1 sack, which would be better than last week. So lead receiver Slayton, and the first touchdown is Hodgins. We did not do that. Who gets the first touchdown?
First touchdown will be Bellinger.
Okay. So Belly
Danny
for you.
B.
And I say it's going to be the Saquon receiving touchdown that I mentioned. I'm going to say Saquon. for me. All right, now we can go back to the defensive side. Who gets the first turnover, and how many turnovers do we get?
We don't really turn the ball over that much. Let's call a spade a spade. So
Yeah,
let's.
we miss a lot.
I'm just going to say one. One turnover, and I think it's going to be a forced fumble. And it'd be sexy Dexy.
All right. That's for you. And for me, I'm going to say we get one as well. But I keep saying it, even though it never happens. We get so close. They drop them all the time. McKinney would have had one, not for OPI. I think we're getting a pick this week. And I think it's going to be the guy I mentioned earlier, my dude, Cordell Flott. He's getting one. He's getting one this week. He's going to be in there more. He has to be. I really hope he is. Give me Cordell Flott to get the.
He matches up well with AJ Brown. I would not be surprised.
And Tony says the first touchdown is from Bellinger and that we don't get any takeaways. Oh, no. Again, that wouldn't surprise me one bit because, like Donald mentioned, one thing this defense does not do very well, besides stopping the run, they can't stop the run, is they just don't take the ball away, which I would like more of, but also we don't really have the personnel to do so. Unless it were to come from Adoree Jackson or one of our safeties, we just really don't have, especially from the linebacker position, we ain't getting a pick from them. We're just not. So we're going to force a fumble most likely, but I still think I want to see a pick from Cordell Flott. So that's my pick. Those are our predictions. Before we get to the final score, just like we did last week, we try to keep it similar. Should we pick the games for the divisional round?
Yeah, I think we should. But what we'll say, another key against the Eagles, red zone defense. We've got a top 10 red zone defense. That is where we are excelling right now. We're middle of the pack everywhere else. Okay, everywhere else we're middle of the pack. We don't really sack enough, but our pressures are okay. Don't get enough sacks. We don't get enough interceptions. All those things I understand. We obviously are not great against the run, but one thing that we are good at is we keep teams out of the end zone. Those sevens turn into threes, and that's what keeps us into the game. So even if we don't get an interception, if we don't get a forced fumble as much, let's turn those sevens into threes. Red zone defense, baby. That's the key. Red zone defense and red zone offense, because we're very good on offense in the red zone too. That's the two things that we excel in. Once we get into the red zone, this is a different team on both ends of the field. So that's an absolute key for me. If you want to beat the Eagles, turn those sevens into threes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And Alex says bracket one of them with the safety. They're going to have to bracket somebody. Whoever Adoree Jackson is not on, I think they're going to have to bracket the other. So if they got him on Brown, I would rather him be on Smith, though, to be honest. I'd rather Adoree be on Devontae Smith.
I agree with you there. That's a really good point because Devontae Smith is actually the X factor for me, man. Because who was it that killed us in that 48-22 game? It was Devontae Smith. He's the one that ensures that Jalen Hurts' offense works as normal. He keeps things working, right? Because he's got the speed. He is just an absolute monster. So I would agree with you, man. I'd have Adoree Jackson covering him. I've liked what Cordell Flott has done against AJ Brown in the past. I would do that, but I would certainly try my very damn hardest and shut down Devontae Smith. Because if you can shut down Devontae Smith, this game changes. I'm not diminishing AJ Brown because he's a phenomenal receiver. Oh my God, he's so freaking good. But he doesn't have the speed that Devontae Smith has, and we really need to just harness that because we don't want to get beat over the top with Devontae Smith because then it's going to be a long night, and they'll be putting up a freaking basketball score.
You are absolutely right about that. So let's get into our picks for the divisional round. Alex has the Chiefs, 49ers, and Bills. Tony going with the upset Jaguars. He's got the Bengals, 49ers, and Eagles winning as well. So let's start with the Jaguars and Chiefs. That's the 4:30 game tomorrow before ours. I mean, I love what the Jacksonville Jaguars did, but can they manage to fall behind to Kansas City and come back again?
What up, MH? Shout out. Man.
What's up to MH in the chat? Thank you for popping in. I'm going KC in this one.
I'm going KC too, man. There's no doubt about it. KC all the way. They're my pick to go to the Super Bowl.
So next up is the Sunday slate before we get into the Giants-Eagles pick. Bengals and Bills. That's a good one. 3 p.m.
Give me Cincinnati.
I'm going the same. They've been my Super Bowl pick since the start. I'm not backing off of it now. I love what Buffalo's done, but I got to ride the wave of Cincinnati right now.
I don't love Buffalo's defense, man.
They had Tyler, whatever his name is, Skylar Thompson, beat them up last week.
Yeah.
He beat them up.
The third choice quarterback beat them up. So
Josh Allen struggled as well.
I would say that if he can, I'm pretty sure that Joey B will.
Tony says Trevor Lawrence has never lost a Saturday game in his entire life. Well, that's going to
change. But a lot of them were irrelevant games. I mean, this is the first time.
Yeah, and those were
last week where we had 4 interceptions and it could have been 10. Yeah, I'm not going to go too overboard on Trevor Lawrence. He's a fine quarterback, but.
And we rounded out here 49ers, Cowboys. I could see Dallas winning this game. I really could. And the potential Eagles-Cowboys NFC Championship game would be enough to make me throw up. But I'm picking San Francisco.
Oh, thank God. I'm going San Francisco too. So we're basically going to match up all the way around?
Depending on what we pick for this Giants-Eagles game. It's time for that. Our final score. Donald, do you want to start?
29-26, New York Football Giants in overtime. It's going to be a fucking shocker, people. 29-26, Big Blue, Graham Gano, overtime, right through the frickin' posts. Giants are going to the Super Bowl. Well, maybe not the Super Bowl. They're going to the NFC Championship game. But, yeah, I'm going 29-26. I think it's going to be like 23-23 in overtime. And then we're going to share field goals. And then the Giants are going to go up the field and get that Graham Gano field goal, 29-26. And we're going to be so nervous where in overtime, the Eagles have got a chance to score. They're going to be at the 5-yard line, but they can't get it over the line. They have to settle for a field goal, and the Giants sneak it up there and get in there. That's what I'm going with. It's going to be a shocker. You're going to have to peel us off the floor, and it's going to be a long night. It's going to be freaking 1:00 in the morning in America, Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a long freaking night.
Right. Alex has the Giants winning 20-19, and Tony has us losing 38-27. I hope you and Alex are correct. I am going to pick Philly to win. I want us to win, of course. I don't know if we have enough to beat them right now. I think moving forward, if we add some pieces that we can maybe take them down. But for now, I think we're going to keep it very, very close. I'm going to say Philly takes this one 26-23. And I think we're in for a heartbreaker.
That hurts.
It does hurt. It hurts me to say it, but I hope I'm wrong. Let's just say I hope I'm wrong. So
exactly. Look at Alex's comment.
Yeah, I can't go away from what I've been saying all the time. If we upset the Eagles, you can laugh at me all you want and say you were wrong. You picked against.
Dude, it's going to be a hostile takeover. You know that's going to happen. There's going to be a hostile takeover. You lose.
You can call me. People will probably say I'm a bad fan or whatever it may be. I've been rooting for this team far too damn long to have that be the case. I call it as I see it, and I pray that I'm wrong. I want to be wrong here, but I don't want to overlook the Eagles. And if we keep it close, my message to the Giants is this: fight, 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 fight. Don't go down. Don't go laying down. If you come out of this game, win or lose, you're sending a message to the rest of the league. You're no longer the pushover. You're no longer the get right game. You're no longer the laughing stock of the NFL. The New York Giants have fucking arrived. Win or lose, we're here to stay. And no one's going to look over us anymore. Even if we lose this game, if we put up a fight against this Eagles team, no more laughing at the New York Giants. So I cannot be more proud of this team for what they've accomplished. So if it comes to an end Saturday night, you've more than exceeded my expectations, and I'm all in on this organization and the coaches and the ownership and the players moving forward. And if you win, then I get to cheer for you for another goddamn week, and I really, really hope I can. But I'm not going to overlook Philadelphia. I just don't think we have enough right now to beat them. Maybe next year we can take them down if we add some pieces to this defense and to the offense. We need to get pieces, but I just don't know right now. As much as a fan, I'm going to ride that fandom as much as possible. I'm going to be a Giants homer. I don't think we have enough to take them down, but I do think we have enough to keep it very, very close, which could benefit to your prediction where we go to overtime and sneak out a victory, which laugh at me all you want. I will take that in a heartbeat. I'm just going to be realistic. I don't think we have enough right now to beat them.
Alex is not too happy with you right now.
Look, I hate the Eagles. I've hated the Eagles for almost as long as Alex has been alive. Both of us have. But again, this is probably the most talented Eagles team all across the board that we've gone against in a very long time. So I'm not going to overlook that. They have an MVP caliber quarterback. They have MVP receivers and a Pro Bowl offensive line. Their defense is all world. It's a lot to get past. And as good as we're playing right now, the Eagles just have that factor where it can just take one play that changes the entire game and they take over. I can't overlook that. And I'm not going to let my fandom blind me. I'm not saying that you guys are blinded by it. I'm not going to.
That's exactly what you're saying. Reel that back, people. Reel that back.
I want us to win.
I already told you that across the board at every single position they are superior to us. It's not the question. I understand they're absolute juggernaut. It's just really hard to beat a team 3 times. And they haven't seen this new Daniel Jones. They haven't seen Daniel Jones doing the frickin' gritty during the frickin' week. He's got balls, this guy. DJ has found his balls. I don't know what's happened. Maybe he's been slaying on the nightlife or whatever, but he got some balls now, and he's destroying teams. Up and down the field, he is just destroying teams. He's got confidence, and I'm looking forward to seeing him take that confidence and edge the Eagles, fully knowing that the Eagles are a much better football team, much, much better. But when was the last time the Eagles have been in an NFC Championship? It's been a while.
It's been like 5 years.
Exactly, and then prior to that. Exactly.
Weren't they in it one like 2 years, like a few years ago? They were close.
Well, they won the Super Bowl with Big Dick Nick. Yeah, I get it, but they're not exactly a juggernaut of playoff teams, right? It's not impossible. The Giants have beaten Green Bay and won. They've beaten Dallas. Remember what Dallas did to the Giants in the regular season in 2007? We shut them down to the point where the Cowboys were literally crying. It's my quarterback. So the Giants can do it again.
Look, I hope you're right. I'm not saying you're completely wrong for your prediction. I'm not saying Giants fans that are predicting us to win are wrong. Like, you guys are stupid to think we're going to win. I think we can win this game. I said it. I do think we can win this game. I just don't think we will. That's the thing. I'm not saying that we're just so much worse than the Eagles, but I don't know how we overcome all of that stuff just yet. If momentum is what takes us over the top, great, because it's happened before. History has repeated itself, and I said it last week. I brought it up before the networks were bringing it up. I said this has an 07 feel to it, but sometimes history can repeat itself, not to completion though. We've seen things be very similar and then just come crashing down. I hope I'm wrong. If there was ever a time for me to be wrong, let it be this one. Let it be this prediction. Because I want nothing more than to beat the goddamn Eagles in Philadelphia.
Rob is realistic. I respect that. Don't let your fandom tell you lies.
Now
Boo! Tony, boo!
Now
See,
he's
Rob,
attacking you.
look where you started. You're getting Tony on your side. That's that's a
Is
terrible.
that what I've done? If then that's the case, the Giants are going to win this game. Screw
Take the L, Rob. Take the L.
No, I respect you guys for picking the Giants. I really do. I absolutely fully understand where you're coming from. I fully understand where you and Alex are coming from and where everybody else that's picking the Giants are coming from. I just don't want to be let down if I say that we're going to win this game. Oh, I can't wait and then we lose. I don't know. I hope we win.
No, listen. Logic dictates that you're absolutely right, man. You're going with logic, and that's the smart way to go. I'm just gonna follow my gut, and the gut's telling me that there's a little bit more life in this Giant team yet. We also had picks as last week.
We did.
Do you remember your picks?
Yeah, we picked everything. We all had the same picks. We both picked Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
So we were right on that. We both picked the Giants, so we were right on that. We both picked Tampa Bay, though. We were wrong on that.
Took the L on that.
Forgot what other games there were. I'm missing a couple. Oh, we picked the 49ers. We picked the Bills.
We both took the 49ers and Bills. And we took the Bengals, too.
So we were right on everything but the Cowboys, Buccaneers.
I know. Like, that's pretty good going, man.
Which I wish we would have had the clean sweep.
5-1 is still very good going.
I'll take it. And I hope I go 3-1 this week.
There's people on the national media that earn millions and millions of bucks to have losing records when it comes to predictions. Seemingly nobody seemed to pick the Giants because they all get caught up in this Giants aren't a good team nonsense. So, yeah, I'm going to say it now. The media needs to wise up a little bit, but they're starting to wise up now because there's been a little bit more credit given to the Giants this week. I have to give them credit. Another thing that I noticed this week was there was an interesting poll that was going around. Did you see where Daniel Jones was ranked amongst playoff quarterbacks?
The ones that are remaining in the divisional round or overall?
Are in the actual playoffs. Yeah, remaining in the playoffs.
Well, let's see. We got Jones, Hurts, Lawrence, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Dak, and Purdy. I'm going to assume he was probably a step ahead of Lawrence and Purdy.
No.
They had him last, didn't they?
They had him last.
They had him last. They had Brock Purdy.
It's your favorite guy that had him last. The guy with kind of like the long hair, and he always has these bad. He hates Daniel Jones.
Nick Wright, the piece of shit.
Nick Wright. That's the guy.
Nose and the toupee. Yeah, he clearly has real hair. He went from being completely bald now having this long. Screw him. I can't.
Alex is vociferous in his hatred right now to Nick Wright. Nick Wright can go F himself with a spoon, if that's what you're referring to, Donald. That is exactly what I'm referring to. And yes, he can go and do things with a spoon if he so wishes.
He can go F LeBron with a spoon.
He do it with a spoon, to be honest. That's not something that I want
He'll find a way because he kisses LeBron James's ass every day of the week. This guy would literally get – I'm not even going to – I can't finish a sentence because I don't know what YouTube's going to do to us. But he would get on his knees and do things to LeBron James.
Okay, moving on.
That's how much he loves that guy. He's terrible. He's a terrible D-rider of LeBron James, as good as LeBron is. That's all he talks about. LeBron this, LeBron that. He hates the Giants. He hates New York sports. So he's never, ever going to give us credit. The fact that we've gotten this far, he's still going to discredit us. Screw Nick Wright. Screw Fox Sports for all I care because they got nobody that's relevant on their network. Skip Bayless sucks. Nick Wright sucks. Colin Cowherd sucks. Shannon Sharp. I don't know about Shannon. He's probably the only likable one they have there. Everybody else they have on that damn network. Fuck Fox Sports. Fuck ESPN too.
Damn, I really started something here.
Screw them.
So my idea was that we'd have our own list to even it up. And so I'm gonna let's do our quarterback rankings.
All right.
1 to 8.
So number 1 is Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick
Mahomes.
Exactly.
Number 2, Joe Burrow.
Man, that's why we're brothers from another mother.
To me, it's got to be Burrow. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, I want to either go Dak or DJ. Or no, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts 4.
Yeah.
5 is where I'm different. I'm either going to go Dak or DJ. They both have. Dak has like a couple of playoff wins. Jones has 1. Dak played really well last week as well. He did have an overall better season. Do we go Dak 5, DJ 6?
Well, what's your list?
Well, I got Dak 5, DJ 6, Lawrence 7, and then Purdy 8. I can't put Purdy above Lawrence or DJ.
No. You're out of your mind if you put Purdy ahead of Daniel Jones. I mean, that's just stupidity. I mean, I like Purdy. I think he's a product of phenomenal coaching in San Francisco. And he's also a system. The system works in his favor, and he's able to ball out. It's no disrespect to Purdy. Purdy looks like legit future for San Francisco when they needed a quarterback that can raise their level, and it looks like they've found one. Lance, step aside. Sorry, Jimmy G. Purdy's their future. He is a perfect quarterback for their system. And Alex backs me up here. Purdy is in a perfect system. Exactly. But that doesn't mean that he's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. And Nick Wright is out of his mind. I can't believe he gets paid for that take. So.
Can't believe he has a job.
DJ's ahead of him for sure. DJ, I'm still putting ahead of Trevor Lawrence because if DJ threw 4 picks and basically 4 throws, DJ'd be ridden on a rail. So he's ahead of Trevor Lawrence too. But credit to Trevor Lawrence for coming back. It takes balls to come back. So the way he did. But he also has much better weapons than Daniel Jones has. Daniel Jones has the worst weapons of all 8 teams. And he's making some miracles happen with it. So if I was being honest, I'm putting him ahead of Dak Prescott.
I was wrestling with that one.
I think all things being equal, I think if you put Daniel Jones in that Cowboys offense, he would do more with it than Dak Prescott. So with that in mind, I'm going to put Daniel Jones 5th.
That's fair. I can see that. I put Dak 5 over Jones for now because I just feel like he still had statistically a fine year. He had a great game last week, and everyone was doubting him because he looked like crap against Commanders. And then he bounced back against Tampa Bay, and he lit them up. So I know Jones just lit up Minnesota as well, but I'm going to put Dak just above him, but I can easily see that being flipped. But everything else, I'm in complete agreement with you on. I can't put Purdy above anybody right now.
No, I mean, it's no question that the front 3 is Mahomes, then Burrow, then Josh Allen. No doubt about it. No problem with that.
I mean, I could even see putting, as of going by what Josh Allen did last week, because he struggled, but Jalen Hurts didn't play. So if Jalen Hurts had to play a wild card game in advance, you could even put him over Josh Allen.
No, Josh Allen has that 60-yard bomb miracle in him, which I don't think Jalen Hurts has. Josh Allen has the miracle arm that I don't think Jalen Hurts has. So, you could have Josh Allen number 2, but I think the fact that Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl puts him slightly ahead.
Yeah, Burrow is magnificent. Alex says that Shelley Duncan has been named manager of the Scranton Rail Riders. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Didn't Shelley Duncan almost break Kim Jones' hand with a high five?
Yeah, he was mashing home runs like crazy for a good month.
I was a big dude. I liked him.
Yeah, he was fun. He was like the whatever. I think it was like 07. He was like Shane Spencer that year. Just wouldn't stop hitting home runs. Pretty.
I know. He just kind of walked up, bang, home run.
Yeah, and then just fell off the face of the earth. But now he's our manager for AAA, so that's great. All right. So we obviously last week we said if the Giants won, we were both going to do something. You poured water on your head for a second time on this channel. I attempted the sexy Dexy sack dance. What are we doing this time around if the Giants come out of the game with the W against the Eagles?
I'm doing a hostile takeover for the fact that I'm picking the Giants. So you're going to have to take the L.
That's fair.
That's one. How are we going to celebrate? Because we need a proper celebration.
We do. I don't know. I'm not dancing again. That's for sure.
Let's ask the chat. How should we celebrate? Alex, Tony,
whoever else might be. Let us know, because I danced. Donald poured water on himself.
He did the sexy Dexy dance. I poured water over my head. I'm more than happy to do it again. Is there any other? What about the gritty?
Oh God, that would have been more opportunistic last week to do it against Minnesota. Kayvon Thibodeau grittied on their logo, by the way. That dude's such a menace.
I love him. I absolutely love him. He is a menace.
We needed a menace on this deep. We needed someone that the rest of the league is going to hate. He has an idea how to celebrate. Got to do Pepsi this time, Donald. Rob does the gritty. Oh, God. He wants me to dance.
Okay.
So you pour Pepsi, I do the gritty. Is that what it is?
It's settled.
You just want to see me dance, Alex, because I'm like this tiny, chubby little guy. I just got to do the gritty now. It's great.
No, man, because you got the moves.
Tony says celebration plan. No, the Houston Texans are irrelevant. That's what's irrelevant, Tony. So are the Arizona Coyotes and whatever other the Orioles. And apparently, you're keeping the name. Irrelevant fan. We love you, Tony. However, so yeah, that it's now set in stone. If the Giants win, Donald hits a hostile takeover. He hosts the victory celebration. Proves me wrong, which would be fine. I'd be perfectly fine with that.
He's also Pepsi over my head.
Pours Pepsi over his head, and I will have to do the gritty, which I do not know in the slightest how to do the gritty. But if Daniel Jones can attempt it, so can I.
Okay. Okay. Not quite sure how that will evens up, but okay, I got you.
There's been some bad gritties in the NFL this year. Like the Mike Gesicki's done it, and it looks terrible. Daniel Jones, you can barely see him, but the Yankees do the gritty. Aaron Judge's gritty sucks, by the way. So maybe I can.
I've never seen Aaron Judge's gritty.
On the walk-off home runs, they do the gritty.
Well, okay.
So I'll have to look up how to do the gritty in preparation.
Google it. Preparation.
Brought up the gritty, so your own worst enemy. I didn't bring up the gritty. Donald brought up the gritty. If anybody, he should have to do it.
I did it. I got caught up in the team getting loose and ready to rock and roll. And by the way, that really annoys me. There was one Giant fan that even had to take that this is going to go viral against them if they lose. Shut the fuck up. It's nothing like the boat thing. One Giant fan said it was like the boat.
It can't be.
Sure.
They're loose. They're loose. It's not like, I'm obviously, we saw Saquon Barkley watching film on the plane after the game.
I know.
They're taking this thing seriously. They're having a little fun in practice. Let them have some fun. There's no shot they're overlooking Philly. No shot, because they know what the Eagles are capable of. Because they did it to us already. There's no way.
Hattie Ward was clowning around on the airplane, and Saquon was like, dude, I'm like watching film.
Dude, Jahad Ward, so he's a menace. He's a real menace.
He is a menace, too. We all need a Hattie Ward on your team. But, Saquon was already preparing for the Eagles, and that was like an hour or two after the game. So, trust me. As you say, Rob, there's no shot this team isn't prepared. This team prepared right now, I guarantee you.
Well, let's hope that there's a hostile takeover Saturday night for the show, because that would mean the Giants win. Let's hope Donald's pouring Pepsi over himself. Let's hope that I'm doing the gritty, because if that's the case, if all three of those things are happening, that means the New York Giants are moving on to the NFC Championship, and I hope that's the case. So that is going to wrap it up for us here at Nerding Out Sports. Thank you to Alex, to Tony, MH popped in the chat as well. Thank you for everybody that's going to be watching this after it goes live on the channel. We love talking Giants football. We love the New York.
Please subscribe. Send to your friends. just go, hey, check out these two lunatics, and put a little subscribe, put a little like in there. Helps the algorithm and helps us grow this channel, which has grown quite a lot over the last year. But let's grow it some more, and let's get this thing moving.
Absolutely, absolutely. So hopefully all those good things happen and you do all those good things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, share it out, tell your friends, because Saturday night there could be someone pouring Pepsi on himself and someone else doing the gritty. Let's hope those things happen. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you all next time. Let's go Giants. Shock the world. Do it. Shock the world, Big Blue. We love you. We'll see you all next time. Peace out.
Let's go Blue.